The G7 summit was anything but harmonious. What was once a gathering defined by camaraderie and shared purpose now felt like a room full of strangers, each leader weighed down by the gravity of their own national interests. Instead of friendly debate, a tense silence dominated the room. The air was thick with unspoken disagreements, and the usual back-channel conversations had all but dried up. The world's leading democracies were split, America on one side, the rest exchanging uneasy glances. The sense of unity that once defined the G7 seemed to be slipping away, replaced by suspicion and uncertainty. The United States, once a champion of free trade, now pushed tariffs and an America First agenda. The shift was jarring as American officials spoke with a new assertiveness, prioritizing domestic interests above all else. This clashed with the G7's founding principles. The group was built on the idea of cooperation, open markets, and collective action. But those ideals were now under threat. Germany, France, and Japan warned of the dangers, but Canada's Prime Minister was caught in the middle, torn between old alliances and new realities. The pressure was immense, as Canada tried to balance its historic ties with the US against the growing need to diversify. The philosophical divide was stark. America saw the world as a zero-sum game, where one nation's gain was another's loss, while others argued for shared solutions to global challenges like climate change, security, and economic stability. The summit became a battleground of competing visions for the future. Heated debates erupted behind closed doors, with leaders raising their voices and gesturing passionately as they defended their positions. The final communiqué was little more than a bandage over deep wounds, the carefully worded document papered over disagreements, but everyone knew the divisions ran much deeper than the text suggested. Smiles for the cameras masked eroded trust. The traditional group photo, once a symbol of unity, now revealed the cracks, forced grins and stiff handshakes barely concealing the underlying tension. The G7, once a symbol of unity, now looked outdated and fractured. The world was watching, and the message was clear. The old order was no longer holding together. For Canada, the message was clear. Relying solely on traditional allies was no longer viable. The shifting landscape demanded new strategies and a willingness to look beyond familiar partnerships. The American shield had become a wall. Where once there was protection and partnership, now there was distance and division, leaving countries like Canada exposed to new risks and uncertainties. Canada needed to seek new partners and new opportunities. The future would require building bridges to Asia, strengthening ties with emerging economies, and finding innovative ways to thrive in a rapidly changing world. The world was changing, and Canada had to adapt or be left behind. Global markets were shifting, alliances were realigning, and the pace of change was accelerating. The summit ended, but the sense of crisis lingered. As the leaders departed, the unresolved tensions and unanswered questions hung in the air, casting a long shadow over the future of international cooperation. Canada's path forward would have to be its own. In a world where old certainties were fading, the country faced a defining choice: to chart a new course, embrace change, and shape its own destiny on the global stage. The United States, once the architect and champion of global free trade, a nation that helped design the very rules of the modern economic order, is now in a dramatic turn, dismantling its own system, undoing decades of carefully built international cooperation. Protectionism has swept through Washington, with sweeping tariffs imposed not just on rivals, but on long-standing allies as well. The new mantra is clear: build economic walls, fortify borders, and protect American jobs at all costs, even if it means isolating the US from its closest partners. This sudden reversal has sent shockwaves through the global economy, leaving allies scrambling to adapt and markets reeling from uncertainty. Decades-old supply chains, once seamless and efficient, are now disrupted overnight, causing ripple effects across industries worldwide. American consumers now face noticeably higher prices on everyday goods, as imported products become more expensive and choices dwindle. Meanwhile, businesses struggle to absorb rising costs, with many forced to cut back production or delay investments. The policy's promise of job growth is undercut by the relentless march of automation and the reality of higher living expenses for ordinary families. For Canada, this shift is deeply alarming. Its largest trading partner, once a pillar of stability, has become unpredictable and volatile. The deep economic ties that once brought prosperity now expose Canada to new risks, turning interdependence into a potential liability. Ottawa is forced to rethink its entire trade strategy, urgently seeking new partners who still value open markets and reliable cooperation. The friendly giant next door, once a source of reassurance, is now a source of risk and anxiety for Canadian leaders and businesses alike. Canada must act quickly to diversify its trade relationships, or risk being left behind in a rapidly changing world. The search for new, reliable partners has become not just a priority, but an urgent necessity for Canada's future prosperity. With Washington's door closing, Canada is pivoting decisively toward Asia. The Indo-Pacific strategy is about action, not waiting. Canada is going to the world. Ministers and business leaders are forging deals from Tokyo to New Delhi. The focus: agriculture, technology, clean energy, and resources. This is practical diplomacy, creating jobs and new markets for Canadians. The goal is resilience, no longer tied to a single market but building a network across Asia. Canadian companies are now active in Singapore, Seoul, Jakarta, and Mumbai. Farmers and tech startups alike are finding new opportunities. This Pacific pivot is already delivering results. Canada is stepping out of America's shadow, forging its own global path. Adaptation and ambition are redefining Canada's role on the world stage. Canada's new strategy centers on ASEAN, a market of over 660 million people. A landmark free trade agreement is set to give Canadian companies a major edge in Southeast Asia. Tariffs will fall, and Canadian goods will become more competitive. Beyond ASEAN, Canada's deal with Indonesia focuses on resilient supply chains and sustainable development. These agreements go beyond tariffs. They cover digital trade, intellectual property, and environmental standards. Canadian tech firms can now operate in Southeast Asia without surrendering their innovations. Green technology and clean energy cooperation are built in. From forestry in British Columbia to aerospace in Quebec, Canadian businesses are gaining new markets. By opening these doors, Canada is reducing its vulnerability to U.S. policy shifts. Diversification is now a national priority. Canada's Asian outreach is both broad and highly targeted, reflecting a deep understanding of the region's diversity and potential. Rather than a blanket approach, Canada is forging unique partnerships with each country, tailored to their strengths and needs. With India, the focus is on feeding a rapidly growing population and powering Canada's own knowledge economy. India's demand for high-quality agricultural products is soaring, and Canadian farmers are stepping up to meet that need, while also learning from India's innovative farming techniques. Recent trade deals are opening Indian markets to Canadian wheat, pulses, and canola, while Canada gains valuable access to India's booming IT and pharmaceutical sectors. This exchange of goods and expertise is creating new jobs and opportunities on both sides, and fostering a spirit of collaboration in research and development. In South Korea, the focus shifts to innovation and technology. Canadian AI startups are partnering with Korean tech giants to create next-generation solutions in fields like semiconductors, robotics, and smart manufacturing. These collaborations are helping both countries stay at the forefront of global tech trends. Singapore, meanwhile, serves as Canada's regional base of operations, thanks to its world-class infrastructure, stable business environment, and forward-thinking digital economy agreements. It's a launchpad for Canadian companies looking to expand across Southeast Asia. These partnerships are carefully tailored: food and people with India, cutting-edge technology with Korea, and finance and digital trade with Singapore. Each relationship is designed to maximize mutual benefit and long-term growth. Canadian companies are expanding their footprint across Asia, supported by smart, strategic agreements that open doors and reduce barriers. This expansion is not just about business, it's about building trust and lasting connections. Already, this approach is paying off for Canadian businesses and workers who are seeing new opportunities, increased exports, and stronger job security as a result of these partnerships. Canada is steadily building a resilient, dynamic economic presence in Asia, one that can weather global uncertainties and adapt to changing markets. It's not a one-size-fits-all strategy, but a sophisticated web of relationships, each one carefully cultivated to deliver real results. The result? More opportunities for Canadian entrepreneurs, more security for workers, and more sustainable growth for the entire country. Canada's quiet, steady strategy is making a global impact, earning respect and recognition on the world stage. The dividends are real, tangible, and growing every year. Proof that smart engagement in Asia is paying off for Canada's future. Canada and Japan's partnership is a model of stability. Their trade agreement has opened Japanese markets to Canadian food and resources. The alliance is now focused on clean energy. Canada supplies hydrogen and critical minerals for Japan's green transition. Joint projects are creating jobs and investment in Canada, while helping Japan decarbonize. Collaboration extends to research in carbon capture and advanced batteries. While others turn inward, Canada and Japan are building a green, prosperous future together. Their alliance is a powerful answer to rising protectionism. The Port of Vancouver is booming, a testament to Canada's open trade policies. Asian goods flow in, Canadian resources flow out. Vancouver is now the Pacific gateway to North America. Investments in infrastructure have made it the preferred port for Asian exporters. Meanwhile, U.S. ports struggle with congestion, labor disputes, and tariff uncertainty. Canada's bridge building has created jobs and prosperity. America's walls have led to inefficiency and higher costs. The contrast is stark. Openness breeds growth. Isolation breeds stagnation. The evidence is in the ships and the jobs they bring. Vancouver's success is Canada's new advantage. The real test of trade policy is its impact on people. Canada's diversified trade keeps prices stable and choices abundant for families. When one supply chain falters, importers pivot, competition keeps costs down. In the US, tariffs have raised prices, acting as a hidden tax on consumers. American businesses face higher costs, making them less competitive. In Canada, manufacturers import components freely, keeping production costs low and jobs secure. Openness supports a healthy business environment and high-paying jobs. U.S. protectionism, by contrast, has led to higher prices and a weaker industrial sector. The lesson is clear. Open markets benefit everyone. Canada's approach is working, at the checkout and in the factory. Protectionism is a lose-lose. In a world of rising nationalism, Canada is becoming a bridge builder, not a superpower, but a quiet architect of global cooperation. When the U.S. abandoned the Trans-Pacific Partnership, Canada helped save it, preserving high-standard trade across the Pacific. Canada now connects North America with Asia, strengthening supply chains for the whole continent. This isn't turning away from the U.S., it's making the partnership stronger and more resilient. Canada's leadership is pragmatic and focused on results, jobs, prosperity, and security. It's a model for middle powers in a turbulent world. By building bridges, not walls, Canada is ensuring its own success and offering stability to others. The quiet architect is shaping a more stable, prosperous future. In a divided world, Canada's steady hand matters more than ever.